Namaste. No, I'm just playing. So, I did ayahuasca. Serious note, life-changing. Life-changing. The experience was everything I thought it was going to be, plus more. I did take a GoPro with me, or a GoPro substitute. I'll do a different video on that. I recorded the videos. I recorded some videos just to show you like where I was staying and how I was staying in the Amazon in Peru. And of course, lucky me, I had it in the case, the waterproof case, and it blocked the sounds. I'm gonna show you different clips and then I'll explain what's going on because you can't hear what I'm saying. Man, where do I start? I went to Iquitos, Peru. I did the ayahuasca ceremony at Refugio, let me see if I'm saying this right, Refugio Altiplano. I'll put the information below. It was perfect experience. Like, I didn't go over there to do ayahuasca to get like a stupid high trip. Like, it was a serious spiritual experience, and that's what I wanted it to be. And they like made me feel comfortable and safe. Like, everything was like perfect. I didn't feel in danger. I didn't feel like super uncomfortable to where I couldn't enjoy the experience. Like, everything was perfect. I took a flight. I flew to Lima first, and kind of show you through the hotel that I went to in Lima, which wasn't bad. It was small, but it did what it had to do. And if you see smoke, that's just incense. Then I stayed the night. I stayed over in Lima, and I caught the flight from Lima to Iquitos because you have to go through Lima in order to get to Iquitos. So if you book through Altiplano, they actually prefer the hotel that's right beside the river that you get into the boat to go to the Amazon. So I prefer that hotel as well. Like, it was a great hotel, beautiful, and I'll show you a clip of that here. So we got on the boat, we took a 2-hour drive, or a 2-hour boat ride to the Amazon. Out there, we kind of settled in, got with the 2 shamans, and they kind of explained the process that we were going to go through. I went through 4 ceremonies. They have different programs where you can go through, I think it was 7 days, 12 days, or 30 days. So that was a little bit too much for me off the jump, so I did the 7-day 4 ceremony deal. So I did 4 different ceremonies, and I'll go over them. So the first ceremony was, it was just like an introduction into meeting Mother Ayahuasca, and that's what was explained to us in the beginning. That's exactly what I felt. They gave us a smaller dosage, or gave me a smaller dosage, and it was just a introduction. Like, I started feeling the medicine like working in my body. Like, I felt it like go down to my stomach, and I felt it like it was warming my stomach, it was like warming my heart, and then it like went up to my brain, and I could feel it like doing things in my brain. And I just started like seeing like geometric shapes, like everything that you read about, like, you know, everything's like the sacred geometry. It was very light. Like, it was enough to like give me a feel. Like, I kind of felt like I wanted more out of the first one, but it just gave me an introduction as to like what it does to my body, like some of the things that I would see. Like, I started like tripping out on like psychedelic shapes and colors a little bit, but it was very light. Like, it wasn't overwhelming or anything. It was like an introduction, because I've never done psychedelics before, so I didn't know what to expect. which is considered a psychedelic, but I think of it as more of a medicine because that's what it put me through. The second day, the second ceremony was like the worst and the best at the same time. The second ceremony was to kind of break up things and really like shake up your core being, and that's like exactly what it did. We took a bigger dosage that night, and it was like the longest. Like the first night, it lasted maybe a few hours. Like the second night, it lasted like at least 7 hours. Like I was tripping like for 7 hours. In a nutshell, to try to keep the video short, I died and like kind of had a rebirth. That sounds so weird, but at the time, like now I can laugh about it when I tell the story, but I literally like thought I was gonna die. Like my brain was going crazy. Okay, so it kind of started off like, because I knew from the night before, I started, you know, seeing the shapes and stuff, and like the shapes and the colors, and then I started actually like hearing voices. So everybody says that you know, we were told that Mother Ayahuasca comes to people in different ways. Like sometimes she'll come as a being or a light, or like an animal or something like that. But for me, she spoke to me. Like I could actually hear her voice. Like her voice was very like angelic. It was very soft, and she kind of like walked me through the process of everything that was going on, which helps because the second ceremony was very, very intense. Like it was extremely scary. Like it's one of the hardest and scariest things that I've ever gone through in my entire life. From the night before, it was kind of the same thing, but like heightened times 100,000. I started seeing shapes. Mother Ayahuasca started telling me things that I had to let go of in my life that I was holding on to. I won't go into too much detail to keep the video short, but she told me things that I needed to let go of. She showed me like God, like, you know, I had a certain belief system as far as God and religion and certain things like that, and she showed me like this is what God really is, and it was just like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like it was just this pulsating like ball of like light and shapes and plants and animals. It was like I could see everything in one like ball of light. Like it was very, very weird. I had some times where I was like throwing up. I had some times where I was crying. Like I was going through a lot of like emotional things. It kind of got to the point where I was like fighting against what was happening to me. Like I didn't want to see the shapes anymore because it didn't matter if I had my eyes open or if I had them closed. I could like still see the shapes. I could still hear the sounds. It kind of sounded like a video game, like I was playing a video game or like a pinball machine or something. Like I heard like all these sounds and like the shapes and the colors. Like it was overwhelming, and I didn't want to go through it anymore. Like I mean, I've smoked marijuana before, and I've had those times where it's like, okay, I'm too high, I don't want to be high anymore, and I could just like drink water and go to sleep. Well, that didn't work. I had to deal with whatever the fuck was going on. So I transcended from like an adult to like a child until like death. Like I went backwards. The thoughts, I kept thinking like these negative thoughts that I thought about myself in life. Every time I would have a thought, it would like disintegrate into like energy. Like I could see the sounds coming out of my mouth or the thoughts coming out of my head, and it just like all disintegrated. Like everything that I thought and like said about myself or about the world, like it's just energy. Like there's no power behind it. It's like I was a baby. Like all I could do was like play with my body. Like I was like rubbing on my arms and feeling my hair and like rubbing on my face. Like I was like playing with myself because it's like that's all I could do. Like I couldn't think, I couldn't move the way I was taught. It was like everything that I learned was broken down to a point where I couldn't even like process it anymore. I fought it and it got worse. The more I fought it, the worse it got. Like the colors got brighter, the sounds got louder, and it was just so overwhelming. Like it was just hard for me to, it was just like too much for my brain. I thought in my head that the medicine like fucked my brain up. Like I seriously thought that at the time. So I was like, you know, I guess I'll just die. And I died, like I went to sleep. And then I woke up. And like when I woke up, I understood everything that happened. Like it was such a huge lesson for me to how everything that we think is just energy. Like it's just energy going through our minds, and it doesn't have any power until we put power behind it.